Happy Valentine's Day, you guys. I'm trying to represent both sides. Do you see this in my wardrobe selection? For those of you that love Valentine's Day, here we are. For those of you that feel like black about it, here we are. So I've got you either way. If you like it or you don't, I'm here. It's okay. Okay. Thank you for joining me today. I'm so glad that you're here. All right. Gonna change my name. Perfect. Okay, for those of you that are on, the way that this will work is I am going to teach for a little bit. And then all the while, you guys, if you have questions, if you have comments, you have whatever you want to share, whatever you want to add to the class, please do. You can go ahead and put it in the Q&A box. That's where we'll be today. So if you have anything that you want to ask or get some feedback on, please let me know. Hello. Hi. I'm so glad you are here. Welcome. Oh, you guys, thanks for coming. It is, let's see, it's lunchtime. I don't know exactly where everyone is, but it's like 62 degrees where I am. It's really gorgeous outside. So today we are talking all about how to create more love and connection in your relationships. So like I said, the more you guys participate or the more you bring like your struggles or like your reality to what we're talking about, the better. So just know that all of that is completely welcome here. So if any of you, I think all of you have been on a webinar, I'm sorry, a Pay It Forward class before, but just to remind you, we do work on a Pay It Forward platform. So Life Coach University has a mission to get coaching out to as many people as we possibly can, and we work by paying it forward. So we just ask that after you attend any of our classes, you just pay it forward in the world in whatever way that you see fit. You'll know exactly what to do, but it's just kind of a fun way to spread our message and to promote goodness and kindness wherever you are in this beautiful world. Okay, I'm going to clear this and we are just going to dive right in. Okay, so start today with some questions. So get your little fingers ready to answer. Get over here, board. Okay, no one see. Okay, the first thing I want you to consider, and I would love it if you would type this into the Q&A. Where do love and connection come from? Whether it's in feeling love in your marriage and feeling connected to your spouse, or with a sister-in-law or a mom or your child, it doesn't really matter who the other person is. Where does it come from? And number two bleeds right into that. Like, what determines if you are feeling love and connection in your relationships? So I would love to hear what y'all think about that. Where does it come from? Okay, as you're thinking about that, I'm going to come to this guide too. I want you to think about, what does connection mean or look like for you? And number four, choose a person of focus. So as we go through this material today, I think it'll be really helpful to have a specific relationship in mind. So it doesn't matter what relationship it is. This could even be just yourself or with a spouse, a child, a sister-in-law, a roommate, whoever, but go ahead and pick someone. And here's the thing, you could pick a relationship in your life that you feel like is kind of difficult and you would love to experience more love and connection, or you can pick a relationship that is already going great and you feel like there's a lot of love and connection. We could explore that and figure out why that is. So either way, just have something in mind, because I'm kind of backpedaling here. When you have that person of focus in mind, tell me what is connection? I think connection can be a buzzword sometimes, but I also think that it's kind of different for everyone. Like for me, my definition of connection, like when I'm feeling connected in my relationships, it's like, oh, I feel like I'm being heard. I feel like I can be vulnerable and say what I'm thinking or feeling. And I feel like I'm getting that from the other person. Like, so communication is a big part for me when it comes to communication. When I'm feeling connected, I have a desire to like serve that person. Like I want to do nice things for them or show up for them. I want to be supportive. When I'm feeling connected, I kind of have this feel of like, dude, we're on the same page. Like we're working towards the same thing. Like we're in sync. Okay. Now, that might not be the case for you. That is just my definition. So there's not a right one. I just am curious, what is your definition? It's going to be really important to know how you define connection so that you know when you are experiencing connection or you aren't. Does that make sense? All right. So if you want to think about that as we're going through and you have anything come up, go ahead and throw it in the Q&A box. Okay. So I have some great news for you. Love. Did I write this up here? No, I'm going to do it right here. Okay. Love and connection. Where does it come from? Spoiler alert. You create love and you create connection. Did you know this? A lot of the times we think that how much love we feel or how connected we feel to another person in a relationship depends on the other person, right? Like if my spouse is romantic and just kind and does the dishes and changes more dirty diapers than I do, we are connected. I am feeling the love, right? But that's really good news. That is honestly the best news I could tell you today. Like, happy Valentine's Day to you, because you are in charge of how much love and connection you feel and how much you want to create in any of your relationships. I promise you that is true. And I'm going to give you like a tool that you can use to see how that all shakes out and how to make more of it. But I want you to just start thinking of this and tell me, you guys, how real is that to you? Like when I say that, are you like, okay, lady, you're off your rocker? Or does that resonate? I'd love to kind of get a feel from you guys. How do you believe that love and connection is up to you? Okay. So the same with the number two. What determines if you feel it is yourself. I mean, think of it. I want you to think about a time when you have done, I think like you've given someone a gift and you just think it's the best gift ever. You spent time and energy and finances, and then you wrapped it and it was all beautiful. And you gave this gift to another person. And maybe like their reaction wasn't exactly what you hoped for. Maybe they were not as excited as you think they should have been, or they didn't like elicit the emotional response that you were kind of hoping for or expecting, right? And you feel kind of like, what the heck? Like that was such a good gift, right? But no, so that's the thing. We think like, okay, we get to feel love and connected if the other person likes our gift. But that's not necessarily true. You feel love and connection to this person, so you can. But if they choose to receive that love, that's up to them. The person receiving the gift gets to decide if they're also going to feel that love. Like you can't take love out of your heart and infuse it into someone else, like any emotion, right? So even if the person doesn't like love the gift, it's totally fine for you to feel a little bit disappointed. You could also just feel so much love for the person, love for yourself, regardless of the response. Does that make sense? Okay. Define. Okay. So we're going to keep rolling here. Okay. I already spoiled this. I'm just spoiling all the things today. Love and connection starts with you. And here's the thing. I think it's easy and it's kind of natural for us to put this on other people. Like if my child would just behave better, or if my spouse would just recognize what I like, this would be so much easier, right? But here's the thing. We can't control other people, no matter how hard we try. Okay. Adults, especially obviously adults, like if you have children, it's different, right? As a parent, you do have a little more control just because they're under your household and your care. But adults, all of us get to decide what we're going to do, and we can do it. Like you're a grown-up person and you just get to choose. So something that I think is really important is to ask yourself, okay, like let's start right here Enter MJ, man in the mirror. This starts with you. How much love and connection do you feel for yourself, you guys? Because if you are trying to increase love and connection in a relationship, but you don't really feel a lot of self-love and you feel kind of disconnected from yourself, that's going to be difficult. It's really hard to draw water from an empty well, right? But if there's just water overflowing, we're like, oh my gosh, everyone, drink, have all the water, right? So there's a really simple thing you can do to kind of like assess how much love you have for yourself. And I'll talk about this in a minute, but the like easiest baseline way to do this is to just ask yourself, how do I feel about me? Like really? How do I feel about who I am today, right now in my life? How do I feel? What's my overall opinion of myself? Okay. And that answer is going to give you a really good gauge on like the love scale, right? Not that there's a scale, but just for the sake of trying to explain something. If this is the love scale and right here is just like, oh my gosh, just so much love, and this is no love at all, where are you? Another way you can do it is what do I think about myself? Like when it's just me, if you ever have a moment alone, or when you're in the kitchen making dinner, or you're driving to work and you don't turn the radio on, what are your thoughts? What do you think about you? Or when you mess up, when you do something wrong, or someone's really upset with you, what are your thoughts about you? That's super telling as to kind of where you stand with yourself. What are my actions? What do I do for me? What do I not do for me? And ultimately, what are my results? Like, what am I creating? What kind of life am I living? What am I creating for myself? These are all really good indicators of how loved and connected you are to yourself. So another thing you can do that's going to take a little bit more time, but I highly recommend it, is just getting all of these thoughts out. We call it a thought download. So you literally can just sit down and with a pen and paper in hand, you can just ask yourself, all right, how much do I love me? And here's the other thing, you guys, if that doesn't resonate with you, if you're just like, dude, that is weird, find something that does. Maybe it's just like writing your name on the top of a paper. And then I promise you, you're going to have thoughts. If you will just plug into your brain and listen, I promise you lots of thoughts are going to come. And those thoughts, you really want to know what they are, because it's going to be really telling. It's going to help you to know so much about where you are and how you feel. And as these thoughts come, it starts to make so much sense. You're like, oh, no wonder I do that thing. Okay. And then the second question here in this same lane is, what do you want in your relationships and why? You're here, so you want more love and connection. But why? Are you thinking, we tend to think this, are you thinking that if you show your partner more love and connection, they'll give it back to you? Are you thinking that, do you know what I mean? Like, are you doing this hoping that you'll feel better? Like, what is the why behind it? And there's no right why. It's the only rule is you just want to like your reasons, right? Like, I want to increase my ability to love and feel connected to my husband because, hello, I signed up forever with him. So why in the world would I not just really love him? Like, if I'm going to be with this dude for the rest of my dang life, and then even after I die, I want to be on board. I want to be able to practice the skill of loving him and feeling connected to him, because why not? Right? Because I can, because that's available to me. That's what I want to create. Okay. So tell me, are there any questions, comments up to what we've covered up to this point, you guys? Throw it in the Q&A if you have a comment. Oh, no, I answered that. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to teach you the model. This is the main tool that I use with all of my clients to help them see what their thoughts are creating for them. So the model was created by Brooke Castillo. She is the owner, founder, genius of the Life Coach School. Okay, so this is what I want to teach you today. This here C stands for circumstance. Okay, a circumstance is something that is totally factual. It could be proven in a court of law. It's neutral, meaning it's not good, it's not bad. It's just something that is. Okay, so some examples. The weather. It being 62 degrees outside is just the fact. Something else that is a circumstance is words people have said to you, things you have said, anything that has happened in the past is a circumstance. The number when you step on the scale, circumstance. What you ate for breakfast today, circumstance. It's a fact, right? Like if you went to court and you were like, hey, I had peanut butter and banana toast this morning with a protein shake, right? It's something that you could prove. Circumstance, okay? So we have lots of circumstances in our life, and circumstance is the thing in this model that we don't have control over most of the time, okay? I can't control the weather. I can't control what other people say to me or how they treat me, really, okay? But all the rest of this, we have control, which is so exciting. So circumstances happen, and then we have a lot of thoughts about them. So T just stands for thought. When you think something, it creates a feeling in your body. Okay, so thoughts create feelings. Thoughts create feelings. Now, we tend to think that C's, circumstances, the facts of our life create how we feel. That number on the scale is the reason we feel this feeling. The reason husband not taking out the trash is why we feel like this. Toddler throwing a tantrum in the grocery store, that's why we feel like this. No, that's not true. Isn't that such good news? The reason you feel anything is because of what you think, right? If the circumstance is husband did not take out trash, and my thought is, he is so rude. And then I feel angry, right? I feel angry because I'm thinking he's rude. I'm not angry because he didn't take out the trash. It's neutral. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's the thing. A thought obviously starts in your brain. It's a sentence in your brain. And then when you think that, it releases a chemical into your body that you experience as a vibration or an emotion. Okay, when you feel an emotion, you take action. Feelings are so important because they drive everything you do. When I feel angry at my husband, what do? Ignore him. I don't talk to him. I spend a lot of time in my head thinking about how he's the worst, whatever. The result is I'm disconnected. I disconnect from my husband. Does that make sense? So all of these things we have complete control over. The C, we don't usually pick the C's. Sometimes we can, and sometimes you can change the C, but that's not what we focus on. We focus on what we think, how it makes us feel, what we choose to do, what we don't do, and then the result that creates for us. So ultimately, if you are wanting to create more love, more connection in your relationship, that's going to go right here, right? A feeling. And I'm going to show you a lot of different ways how love and connection actually fit in the models. So I will show you that in a minute. But I'm curious, does anyone have an example that they'd be willing to put into the Q&A box of something that we want to take a look at a model, like why aren't we feeling love or connection, or why we are feeling love and connection? So if you can think of something that has happened in a relationship that you have before and it doesn't, and then I'm going to ask you a lot of follow-up questions to fill out this part, but we want to just examine, I want to show you how this works. So if anyone has an example they want me to use, fantastic. If not, I have plenty of examples I can show. Okay, I'm going to start putting one in here, but you guys think about it. And if you have something, I would use your examples. Okay. Ooh, I'm going to turn so you can still see this. Okay, ignore my awesome writing. Okay, so in the circumstance line, you guys, I'm putting that I planned my week with husband. So last down, we look at the calendar, we say, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I need from you, blah, 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 blah. We have a little planning session, right? Okay. So I plan the week with my husband. When I plan the week with my husband, I think, oh, like we're on the same page. Okay. That's one of the thoughts I tend to think. Something that I'll mention too about the model when you're doing this, you guys, you want to try to pick a specific example. Like the more specific you can get, the better, because it's just like taking a little snapshot of one thing that happened and then showing you what it created. And with that being said, you pick one thought. You're going to have lots of thoughts, but you want to pick one thought and then you want to pick one feeling that corresponds. The action, you can have lots of things. You can put whatever it is that you did or didn't do in your action line. And then in the result line, no one can show up in your result line besides you. Okay. I'm the only person that can show up in my result line because I can't control other people. So that's something that you want to remember. And our results are almost always tied to our thought. There's always some connection between them. Okay. So when I think we're on the same page, it makes me feel like prepared, like I feel, or maybe it makes me feel confident. It makes me feel confident in our relationship and in the activities and all the things. So when I communicator, I share what's going on for me. I follow through. It's easier for me to ask for help when I need it. When I'm feeling confident, I don't ignore my spouse. I don't shut them out, right? Like confidence is a great thing for me to feel because it allows me to show up as a spouse that I want to show up as. And then the result of all of this is so the result of all of this is I accomplish the things that I've right when I'm oh, yeah, we're on the same page. I know what's mine. I'm able to own it and I accomplish those things. Then I feel connected. I feel very connected to my spouse. Okay. So this kind of makes sense. This is just a rough example. I'll give you more examples. But so I'm going to show you another example actually. I'm going to put the exact same circumstance right here. Planned week with husband. Okay. And I'm actually even going to get more specific. So give you a little background. So right now I'm training for a triathlon. And so most mornings I wake up at 5 to go to the gym to do training while everyone is still asleep. Okay. So last night during planning, I say to my husband, like, hey, what time do you want to leave for school tomorrow? And he says, I'd like to leave by 7. And I said, okay, great. I'll just go to cycle class and then I'll come home so that you can leave on time. Okay. So that's what we agreed on. So I'm not going to write all that out, but that was the circumstance. Okay. So then, well, no. So this, okay, I'm giving way too much background. Scratch this, you guys. I'm sorry. I mean, these were the circumstances, but this is what I'm just to show you what I'm trying to show you. Okay. There we go. So I get home today from the gym at like 6:40 and my husband is in bed. He's like reading, but he's in bed. And this is my thought. I had a lot of thoughts. Okay. So I have this thought when I see him, I come home and I see him in the bed reading. And my thought is, what the heck? He's supposed to be getting ready. I totally would have had time to swim today. Right. I didn't go swimming because husband said, hey, I'm going to leave at 7. So I was like, hey, I'll get home earlier so that you can leave. Then I come home and he's still home. I mean, he's still just in bed. And I was like, what the freak? I could have gone swimming. That was really my thought. I could have gone swimming. So then I feel really frustrated. Okay. So you want to hear what I do? So I walk in and I see him and I say, this is what I say. Did you just wake up? And it's like, and then he responds, he's like, what? And then I leave the room. I go fume in the kitchen. I was silent. I just stood in the kitchen and I was like, I'm so bugged. I could be swimming right now. And swimming is really hard for me. I need all the help I can get. So I'm just standing in the kitchen. I'm really bugged. And then I drink some water. And then I come back in my room and I get some materials to do some work. But I don't talk to my husband. Don't talk. Okay. So you could just see here. So the result of this is I disconnect. Okay. Isn't that perfect too on Valentine's Day? Like I didn't even say happy Valentine's Day to him. I was like, could have been swimming. You're the worst. Okay, well, let's review this. So I think I'm frustrated because I come home and my husband's in bed at 6:40. No, it's totally neutral. It's totally neutral. It is not bad for a husband to be in his bed at 6:40. It's not. It's totally neutral. It's not good. It's not bad. It's neutral. It's a fact. Okay. Why do I feel frustrated? Because of this guy, because of my thought. And I had lots of thoughts. I'm like, oh, he lied. He doesn't do what he says he's going to do. I could have been swimming. He ruined my day. All these thoughts, right? Just thoughts. But it's those thoughts, you guys, that made me feel so frustrated. Like I was just upset. So then I feel frustrated. So I'm like judgy. I'm really judgmental. I'm like, did you just wake up? And then I leave. I go ahead and leave the room. No, hi, honey. Good morning. How are you? Oh, happy Valentine's Day. No, did you just wake up? Super judgy. And then I go stand in the kitchen and I'm just mad, do some mad drinking. And then I come back in the room to get my stuff, but I'm not talk to husband like I'm mad. Okay. So the result of all of that is I'm totally disconnected. And it's like I could have been swimming. Yeah. Or I could have been connected to my husband. I could have been kind. I could have been nice. I could have greeted him. Right. So it's just kind of funny. So I disconnect. Does that make sense? So here's the thing. All of this, like, why did I choose to think this thought of, oh, he's supposed to be up? And why did I choose to think, oh, I could have been swimming? Because in my brain, it's just like, oh, well, that's what we planned on. And if we made a plan, then we're supposed to stick to it. But guess what? That story is painful because that's not true. Sometimes we make plans and guess what? We don't stick to them. So I just let myself be frustrated for a little bit. And I just like processed feeling frustrated. And I realized, and this took me a minute. And you guys, I do this work every day. And I still have to remind myself, like, Heather, hey, honey, you're frustrated because of the story you're making up about this, not because he's still here. That was the fact, right? So you want to try to separate the fact from all the drama. Like me, all of this is just the drama. There was only one fact here. Okay, but then, so yeah, so I just allowed myself to like feel frustrated and be there. And then when I was ready, I was just like, hey, and I just talked to my husband on his way out. I was like, hey, I just need you to know, like, I was upset this morning when I came home and you were here because we had talked about this and I could have gone swimming. And he was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm really sorry. That wasn't my intention, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's totally fine. I just needed you to know that I was upset. And so I'm sorry that I gave you the cold shoulder this morning. I'm sorry about that. Like, I just needed to clean the air and be honest with you because I do want to feel connected. But in order for me to feel connected, like I had to be vulnerable. I had to be honest, and I had to just like process and realize, oh, I'm creating this frustration for myself. But you guys, this doesn't mean that you just become a doormat. Not at all, right? It's just helpful for me to realize, oh yeah, I'm choosing to feel frustrated because I have this story of, well, my husband didn't follow through. He didn't do what he said he was going to do. So I'm going to feel frustrated about that. I also could have chose to feel compassion. Like, oh, we had a late night. He's probably really tired. I'm glad he got some extra sleep today. And I still got to work out. That was amazing, right? Like, there's all different kinds of things that you could think. Ugh, this is hard. Okay, but listen to me. What also is really hard is just staying here and giving other people your power. If it's Devin's fault that I'm frustrated, that's a problem. If it's my husband's fault that I'm frustrated, that means in order for me to not be frustrated, he has to change. And I don't know how to change him. That's what's really hard. But I can change me and I can own me and my choices all day long. You guys, this doesn't mean you're not going to choose to be frustrated. I wanted to be frustrated this morning and I just let myself be frustrated. But then when I was done, I was like, okay, I'm going to apologize and I'm going to just speak my truth. I'm going to say why this was hard for me, why I was upset, why I did what I did this morning. But I owned that. Like, that was me. And so that gave me my power back. And now it's like, okay, let's go to the next thing. I'm sure I'll be frustrated again before the day is over. I can count on it. Right. But knowing that what I'm thinking, the story that I'm creating is causing that for me is so empowering because I'm like, okay, well, if I want to change it, if I want to think or believe or do something different, then I can and I will. Okay. Tell me what's happening in here. So true. It's just such a different way to think. Thank you for teaching. Oh, you're very welcome. And it is, you guys. It totally is. And that's the thing. It's not like you're going to learn this today in class and then go off and just be like, oh, yes, my thoughts create my feelings and I'm so good at it. No, it is. It's challenging because it's different. They don't teach us in school. It is. It's easier to blame other people. It would have been easier for me to be like, okay, well, husband, you screwed up today. And now my Valentine's Day is going to suck because of you. No, no, no. I love Valentine's Day. I'm going to be very happy. I worked through it. I'm good. And like, I get to own that. That's me like taking care of me. Does that make sense? Okay, you guys, do you have an example or something that's hard for you, something you're struggling with in a relationship that you want to work through a model with? I would love to help. I would love to help you. So if you have something, put it in the Q&A. While you're doing that, I want to show you something else. So you can also work the model backwards. It's really fun. It's like those math equations in school when they're like plug and chug, you know? So circumstance, you want to make sure that it's very factual, that everyone could agree upon it. Like, make sure that is facty and not dramatic story part you made up. Okay. But then if we're wanting to feel more love in a relationship, guess what? We can just put love in the feeling line. And same with connected. If we want to feel more connection in our relationship, but we're not really sure how, put it right here. Put it in the feeling line. And then up here at the circumstance, you can get really specific, right? Like I could go back and put in the example of I come home and my husband is in his bed at 6:40. And if I want to feel love and connection for him, what would I have to be thinking to do that, right? You can also just do this kind of generally and be like, put a relationship in here. So you could just put, I'm married to blah, blah, or I'm in a relationship with so-and-so, or so-and-so is my child. Okay. But if you are wanting to feel more love and connected, the question, because here's the thing, how much love and connection you feel does not depend on the person up here. It depends on what you choose to think about the person up here. Does that make sense? And I really, like, I feel so passionate about this. That is such a game changer. If you will just like hear me out and try this and practice. What you feel does not depend on the person up here. It's what you think about the person up here that determines how you feel. Let me check this box. Okay, I'm going to come back to your question. Okay, so that's what I asked myself. All right, Heather, if you want to feel love and connection, what is it that you're going to have to think about so-and-so? Okay, it could be a myriad of things. Maybe it's me thinking we're on the same page. Maybe I'm thinking we are a great team. Maybe I think, oh, I love him so much. Maybe it's I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful he chose me. I love doing life with him. Right? It could be all kinds of things, but you want to pick a thought that makes you feel connected to them. You want to pick a thought that makes you feel love. You guys, I can't do that for you. I don't know what thoughts are going to create love for you. I don't know what thoughts are going to create a feeling of connectedness for you. So it's just like clothes. You know, when you go into a store and you see all these cute clothes, or a mannequin will be dressed in something and you're just like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. And then you go in the dressing room and you try it on and you're just like, ooh, not a good fit. It's the exact same thing with thoughts. You have to try them on. So pick a thought, practice thinking the thought, and you just ask yourself, okay, when I think this, when I think I'm so grateful we are a team, how does that make me feel? Yeah, it makes me feel love. It makes me feel gratitude. It makes me feel excited, whatever. Great. If you're just like, if you don't really believe the thought, then you want to pick something else. If it's something that you can like work towards, if it's a little bit of a stretch, that's fine. But if you straight up don't believe the thought, you're going to need to pick something else. The thought has to be believable for you in order for it to work. But I'm just telling you, that's how you test it. When I think this thought, does it make me feel love? And if you're like, yeah, then perfect. Then you can start working here. Okay, when I feel love for my spouse, what do I do? What kind of action do I take? Oh, I talk to them, I communicate, I look in their eyes, I listen, I'm attentive, I'm supportive, I do certain nice acts of kindness, I'm honest with them, whatever it is. When I feel connected to my spouse, how do I show up? What do I do? Okay. And then what's the result of all of this? Is you like, if the thought is like, oh yeah, I'm just so grateful that he's mine. The result is I'm grateful for my relationship. I'm grateful for me. I'm grateful for the time I'm putting in. And I feel connected. I feel so much love for this person. Does that make sense? So that's what's fun. And I'll show you on the next page, even another place where you can put these in. But you can just work this, you can kind of manipulate it and put this in and then fill in the rest. Especially if you're struggling. Excuse me, if you're struggling to feel love or you're struggling to feel connected to someone, put it in here and then ask yourself, all right, what would I have to think in order to generate love? And if I really felt love for this person, what would I do? And if I really did those things, what would it create? And I also just want to offer, like, you choosing to feel love and you choosing to feel connected to a person is going to benefit you. You're not doing it for the other person. Like, yeah, they're probably going to get a lot of great benefits, but you're doing this because when you choose to feel love, you're the beneficiary of that love. It feels great. We can't force anyone to feel our love. We can't force anyone to feel connected to us, right? But you choosing to do these things is going to feel great for you, and it's going to cause you to show up in the way that you want to show up, which is a win. Okay, I'm going to pop in the Q&A. So many times when I'm frustrated or annoyed with my husband, he has no clue, yes, as to why or what he did, which sometimes is better knowing he didn't do it on purpose. if I can get over myself and ask questions, it usually works out. Yeah, but here's the thing too, like, and don't tell you, oh, if I could just get over myself, like maybe just asking yourself, like, hey, what's going on for you? Like, treat yourself like your very best friend, or just like your kid that you love so much that is hurting and you just really want to help. Talk to yourself that way. Right. And I think that's so true. I found that so many times. Like, I'll be so frustrated, and my husband just, like, I know that he has no idea. And he's probably just like, yeah, she's probably on her period or something. I'm like, no, like, I'm just so mad. Like, it's you, you're the problem. Right. But I think too, the skill of just being able to verbalize, like, hey, you know what? I feel really upset right now. And let me tell you why. It's because I was thinking this, and like that's what I did this morning with Devin. It's just like I felt really frustrated because I was thinking that, like we talked last night, I was thinking that was what was going to happen, and it didn't. And this has happened a few times, and so I'm feeling kind of frustrated about that. It's not like, you're great. I love you. I'm not mad. I just anymore. I just needed you to know that's why I was cold this morning. Because that for me is connectedness. Even though it's not flowery and beautiful, like that's what was real for me today. But yeah, so just like you're saying, except for get rid of the if I can get over myself, because nothing's wrong with you. Right? This is just what it's like to be a human and to have relationships. Relationships are challenging because they involve other humans. And if other humans would just do it right, aka if they just do it the way we do it, it'd be so much easier, right? But there's no learning, there's no growth in that. So just be compassionate with yourself, and maybe just start practicing paying attention, just like you're saying. Kate, when you are frustrated or annoyed with your husband, why? You want to find the thought that's creating that frustration and that anger for you, because you think you think that you're frustrated and annoyed because of what husband's doing or not doing, right? That's not true. You're frustrated and annoyed with husband because of what you're thinking about whatever it is that he did or he said or whatever it is that he didn't do. Does that make sense? And do we see how that can be like really empowering? Okay. Let me show you another way you can do this. Yes. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Okay, so last time we put connected and love in the feeling line. This time you can try putting it in the thought line. So this is the same. So I have relationship with fill in the blank. Okay. You can try putting it in the thought. When I think I'm so connected to him, or when I think I love him so much. Then you just go this way. You ask yourself, okay, when I think I'm so connected to him, how does it make me feel? Makes me feel confident. When I think I love him so much, what does it make me feel? Love. Maybe it makes me feel grateful, right? And you guys, I'm doing a lot of examples here. When you do models like this, you want to just keep it one thought, one feeling, whatever action, one result with only you in it, right? But just for the sake of an example, so you can just build it that way. When I think this, how does it make me feel? When I feel confident in my marriage or my relationship with whoever, what do I do? How do I show up? And what's the result? What's the effect of those actions? Okay. All of this you get to control. Isn't that amazing? You're totally in charge. Okay. And again, you just have to test them. If the relationship Like, this is the relationship with so-and-so. And if you think I love him so much, but you're like, oh, I don't. Like, he drives me crazy. That's not going to be working for you then. So start where you are. It's totally fine. So many times, and I find this with my clients, we're so full of shame. We're for sure not going to admit to anyone, especially ourselves, that we're feeling negative, like against, especially the spouse. Because you're not supposed to feel that way. Yes, you are. You're supposed to feel that way half of the time, dude. It's just life. You're a human. Okay. So just remember that. Don't make up something that is so frou-frou that you don't believe. If you can believe it, fantastic. But that's the test. Pick a thought that you can believe, or you can at least start practicing believing. Lastly, you could also do this. Well, there's probably two more things. This is the same. Boop. What if we put in the result? So if the result you want to create is more connection, whatever that looks like for you, maybe that's more intimacy, maybe that's more communication, maybe that's whatever. Like, you just get to decide. Remember, you have to keep it with you. So I can't put that Devin treats me really nice. I don't get to control him. No one can show up in my line, or Lily listens to me perfectly. Now, I'm the only one that can be here because I'm the only one that can control me, right? So if the result that I'm trying to achieve is I create a loving relationship, how would I have to act? What would I have to do in order to create a loving relationship? Or what would I have to do in order to create a relationship that is connected? Okay. In order to do these things, what would I have to be feeling? In order to feel those feelings, what would I have to be thinking about said person? Does that make sense? So you can do that. You could also start with actions, you guys. You could what's the word I'm trying to say? Like, deconstruct it that way. So just like we talked about in the beginning, whatever your definition of connected is, you could put it here. So sharing what I think, expressing to my partner my feelings, inviting my partner to do activities that I enjoy, supporting my partner in activities they enjoy, taking time at the end of every day to listen to him or her, right? You could write all of these things down, put the actions that you think, oh, in my mind, connectedness does this. In my mind, love does this, and then work it again. Okay, in order for me to really create that, how would I have to be feeling? In order to feel that way, what would I have to be thinking? And then obviously, right, when I do these things, the result is like, I feel a lot of love and connection with my spouse. But do you see how you're the creator of that? And I want to put a blanket on this. Like, you guys, this is for a relationship that you want to be in. Okay. We're not talking about relationships that we feel like are abusive or very harmful. Absolutely not. I advocate always, if you're in a relationship that is abusive or unsafe, get out. Okay. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about in a relationship that you want to be in. It's just kind of hard. You're not feeling all the love and connectedness that you would like to feel. And can I just say, hi, welcome to it. That's so normal. But that doesn't mean you have to just take a back seat and be like, okay, well, this is just what it's like to be married. Or this is just what it's like to have children. This is just what it's like to have a boyfriend. No, you get to decide. You get to choose what you're going to create, how it's going to be. And listen, the other person, yes, they absolutely have agency and they're going to show up as they want to show up. So it's like, okay, you knowing that person is who they are, you're with them. Why are you with them? If you like your reasons, let's go. Let's decide. If you want to feel more love and connection, hi, it's going to feel amazing for you. You just get to decide, okay, then what is it that I'm going to do in order to create that? Does that make sense? Okay. That's what I've got for you. So tell me how accessible this is feeling to you guys. Tell me if you're feeling like you understand how to create that love and connection. And I will just say, I think sometimes the very best place to start is just figuring out where you are, right? And you can even do like we did a few pages ago. This is not a real thing right now, this scale. I'm making this up, but I'm just saying this might be helpful. Like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, oh my heck, I'm so in love and I'm so connected to fill in the blank. How do I feel today? And listen, like maybe every day is a little bit different, but don't get all stressed out about that. Like, oh no, we're just figuring this out right now. For me today, what is it? Where would I put myself? And then why? Why am I giving it that number? And what do I want to change? Because I'm telling you, if you're just like, oh, but I just really wish that he would have brought me flowers and candy today. Like, it's the universal love day. I just don't see why that would have been so hard. And then you create all this unnecessary pain for yourself. Do you see how you're giving that, like the other person in the relationship, all the power? You have lots of options. It's like, okay, well, did you tell them that you were expecting that and you wanted that? Well, no, that's not romantic. Well, that's just a thought. Maybe it's super romantic to tell your spouse, hey, V-Day is coming up. This is what I want. Right? But just recognize that you have so much more agency here than you think you do. And if you want to feel more love and connection, take it on as like something fun. Like just make it fun. Like just do an experiment. It's like, okay, here's where I'm at. I'm kind of at a 4 and I want to get to a 7 or whatever. This is what I'm going to try. And just like plug in different things and try it out and test it and see what happens. And you're not doing it to see how spouse responds. You're doing this, how do I respond? How do I feel? What am I thinking? How am I showing up? Because you are the person you have control over. Okay, so when my kid breaks things, I start feeling like he is destructive and sabotages things when I tell him no. I have a hard time feeling the love. I feel like I have categorized him as difficult. Yeah. Okay. So let's run this. So up here, we would put kid broke whatever it is that he broke, or multiple things, right? That would be the fact. Okay. My kid broke something. And then my thought is he is difficult. How do you feel? How do you feel when you think that? Just like you're saying, like I've categorized, I've just put him in this box of like, you are difficult, right? When you think that, how do you feel when you think my kid is difficult? He is difficult. Also, as you're typing this, tell me how you feel. I can't handle it. What does that mean? So I think this is more of action. This is really good. Stay with me. So show me what that looks like in the action line. So what do you do? So, but sorry, let's back up too. Tell me the emotion. When you think he is difficult, do you feel anger? Do you feel, okay, here we go. Frustrated, overwhelmed. Yeah, okay. So then, friend, tell me what you do. And think about this moment, like these times when he has broken something and you're thinking, oh my gosh, he's so difficult, and you feel really frustrated and overwhelmed. What did you do? How did you show up? Yeah. Okay, we yell. We shut down. And if I was coaching you, I'd be like, okay, tell me everything. Tell me what it looks like when you shut down. So I obviously don't know for you what that is, but maybe it's just like ignoring him. Maybe then, I don't know, like, are there consequences? I'm not sure what's happening. So you want to flush this out. You want to be like, okay, what all do I do? Then do I just get on my phone? Do I turn on a show? Do I ignore him? Do I put him in his room? Like, what happens? Right. But then the result of all of this is this is really difficult for you. You're difficult. You're kind of difficult. Do you see that? Like when you're yelling and you shut down and you're crying, that's really difficult. I'm difficult. So here's the thing that I want to just show you in the last couple minutes. Your kid breaking things is neutral. It's not positive. It's not negative. It's just something that happens. Okay. Now, I know that you think it's negative. I totally get that. I just want you to know that this is the fact here. This is the thing that we don't have control over in this scenario. Okay. But all the rest of this we do. So when you choose to believe that he is difficult, it's like you have difficult glasses on. And then everything that kid does, you put in that box of like, see, he's very difficult. You have a lot of evidence for that story. So you want to ask yourself, why am I thinking he is difficult? Another thing you can ask is, what else is true about my kid? Something else that you can ask yourself to kind of flesh this out is like, okay, I wonder what's going on for him that he breaks things. I wonder what's going on for him that causes him to break all this stuff. That's interesting. Okay. Right? Like you just kind of want to understand why you're thinking that. Because when you choose to think that he's difficult and you feel frustrated, you don't show up as the mom you want to show up as, right? You're yelling, you're crying, and that part of you that's feeling overwhelmed causes you to just shut down, to not do anything, which again is not the mom that you want to be. So of course you're not feeling love for him or for yourself. And then you're just experiencing even more difficult. Like you're making this situation even more difficult for yourself, right? So you just want to kind of strip this down and be like, okay, what else is true? And here's the thing, you might not be ready to believe something different, but you could just test it out and ask yourself, okay, what else is true? Is there any other thing that might be going on here? Because just like the thought you mentioned earlier, when you think I can't handle it, it's probably kind of the exact same thing. Like those thoughts are just not serving you at all. And I know that they feel so necessary. And I'm not telling you that when your kid breaks something, you should think, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of him. I mean, you could if you wanted to, right? But I just want like you, out of all the things that you could choose to think when your kid breaks something, why are we so attached to he's difficult? And just notice when you think that he's difficult, it creates a lot more difficult for you. Okay. So just kind of flesh that out. Why am I thinking that he's difficult? And you could just do a download. That's what I would totally allow yourself to do, is to just get all of your judgment out, all of this out, and look at it while being very curious and very, very compassionate. Okay. So do that. And yeah, just try running this model. Okay, we have someone else. I joined in late. I can't wait to watch. Okay. I've been at a 3 loving my partner. When I purposely focus on growing my love for him, I also feel that I get super frustrated and resentful. Then I think that I don't have it in me to love him anymore. But then I see that I have so much love for new people or strangers, but for people that I know for a while, I start to lose my love for them. Okay, that's fascinating, right? And I think these paragraphs, whatever that you just wrote, nuggets of gold for you, my friend. Like you want to be really curious about this and you want to explore it. So I would just ask you that, right? Be like, okay, so why are you thinking that you don't have love when it comes to people that you've known for a while? Why are we thinking love is something that runs out? Right? And then I also would tell you, okay, but look, if you have the ability to love new people, that means you have the ability to love, period. Just for some reason, You're choosing to withhold love from people that you've known for a longer time, like your partner. And I would just ask you, why? Why are you choosing to withhold your love from him? And how is that feeling for you? What is that creating? And I'm assuming that's a lot of negative emotion. So we're out of time, but that is what I want you to do is I want you to just answer that question honestly. Why am I choosing to withhold love from my partner right now? Or from other people that I've known for a long time? Because I know sometimes it doesn't really feel like a choice, but it is. And you've proven that to yourself because you're like, oh, like it's not like your love is broken. You have the ability to love other people. But for some reason it's feeling difficult with your spouse and you just want to understand why that is. All right, my beautiful friends, I appreciate you being here so very much today. Thank you for participating and putting all of your comments and your stuff in. And for those of you that just put in stuff kind of in the last few minutes, if you have more questions or if you start doing this and you feel kind of stuck or you need more direction, please reach out to me. I'm on Instagram, Heather Flake Coaching. I have that same website. You can email me. Please reach out to me. I would absolutely love to help you. I have a coaching program that is currently accepting clients. So if you want any more information, that's how you can reach me. But thank you so much for being here. I hope all of you have the Valentine's Day that you most want to have today, whatever it is. I hope that you feel like you can create that for yourself today. And thank you for joining me. I hope all of you have a beautiful day and I will see you here next time. Take care. Bye.